Oh, Regina, you can know it. Yes, you know it. Yep, leave it all alone. We're gonna talk about that tonight. Give me some likes on TikTok. Give me some likes. Oh, thank you. I appreciate you. And the IO, I appreciate you. All right, all right, all right. The doctor's in the building. Yo, the doctor been tied up for about a week and a half. I hadn't been here, um, and because we've been working, yeah, we've been teaching, we've been coaching, we've been doing something. I got something big soon. I'm going to announce something I've been working on. Yo, it's big, big. I can't talk about it right now. I've been sworn to silence, but we are going to talk about it soon, coming up real soon. So I don't know if any of you, hey, first of all, hello, I'm Coach Ken, AKA the doctor, AKA the professor, AKA Mr. AKA. I am not a doctor because I have an MD or a PhD. I am a doctor because when people come to me, they're in pain and I help get them out of pain. And we're going to talk about that tonight. And I'm going to ask some of you to do something. I got to tell y'all a story. Now, I'm getting kind of giddy about it. But before I do that, first of all, I would like to know where your name, first of all, let me know your name and where you're checking in from. I love to know your name and where you're checking in from because you could be anywhere else in the world, but you are here with the doctor tonight. You are here with me. So I want to properly acknowledge you. So if you could give me your name, where you're checking in from, so I can give you a shout out. Rosie from California, Helena from Maryland. What part of California? What part of Maryland? Nina from Virginia. Nina, what part? Annie, okay, Annie from Northern California in the building. What's the city of the Yolanda from Mississippi? Mississippi where? Y'all tell me, MJ from Mississippi, what city? I said, Jay from New Jersey in the building. We got Susan in the building. We got Candace from the DMV area in the building. Mary from Eastern Shore, Maryland in the building. Great, great, great. Thank you for joining me. Paula from London, the UK in the building. What is that? St. Eustace, the Dutch Caribbean. All right. Thank you for joining me. I don't know. St. Eustace. I forgot. I don't know how to pronounce it, but you know what? Thank you, my heart. Sandra from South America, South Africa. Dana from Atlanta in the building. Rosie, okay, Fremont, California. All right, Yolanda. We got the DeSoto County, Mississippi in the building. What's up, Patrice? Good to see you, hon. Nina, Winchester, Virginia. Felicia Hooks, Tampa, Florida, the 813 in the building. Thank you all for joining me. We appreciate it. I appreciate all of you who have, you could be doing anything else. Big Mike, okay, Big Mike, 2 weeks, baby. My guy, Big Mike, aka film photographer extraordinaire. All right. All right, let's see. Who else we got? Who else we got in the building? What's that? Tona from Brooklyn, Brooklyn, New York, in the building. Just got back from up that way, doing my stylist for the TV show that I'm on. We had to go shopping for the show. Y'all know, when y'all ever watch the show I'm on the show that it comes on MTV. Yours truly is a relationship coach. MTV on Tuesday nights. It's called Unfaithful, Caught in the Act. It's like a modern day Cheaters, but with a twist to it. I'm the coach on the show, and my stylist and them have me looking good. But tonight, okay, somebody says, well, it was a slick says, what you teaching about tonight? So tonight, thank y'all for watching the show. All right, tonight I'm going to teach about communication pain points. Communication pain points. And so what you're going to find out, and I got a story to go with it. Why I'm about to help some of you repair your relationships tonight. And it doesn't have to be just romantic. It can be with your mama, with your siblings, with your workplace. It's called tonight's talk. It's called communication pain points. And I'm going to identify the communication pain points that are keeping you from getting what you need. Now let me say this. I'm on a TV show. So last night, the show came on. We aired 2 new episodes. Comes on MTV. And for the next 4 weeks, we're going to be airing 2 new shows a night. 1 at 8, 1 at 9. Now, I'm looking back at the stuff that I've already filmed, right? And I'm looking back, and it brings back to my recollection of all of the people who were going through traumatic things at the time we filmed the show. Now, and what I realized, the show is centered around infidelity. But you know what I realized? The show is not really centered around infidelity. The show is centered around communication. Because at the end of the day, when Tammy and I go through our process of talking to people, probing, and finding out, how did you end up committing infidelity, or how did you become the victim of the infidelity? At the end of the day, it is almost always 90% of the time associated with miscommunication or lack of communication. You see, what I tell people is all of the problems that you think that happen in your relationship could be 80% of them could be prevented if you knew how to communicate well. And so tonight, I'm going to take y'all down a road, and some of y'all, I'm going to help you. But I got to show you yourself. Is that fair enough? So let's get busy. And then at the end of it, I am going to tell you to do something. Oh, y'all, by the way, we are doing that class that I did, the Just Ask class, how the right questions can reveal the right partner. We 4 weeks into that class. Some of y'all, I wish y'all had took it. We had 26 new people take it. The class is so powerful, y'all. I'm teaching on stuff that I didn't even know I was going to teach on. But it's too late to join that. But what I will say to you is this, is that I realize a lot of times when you hear something, your brain, now listen to me closely before we get into the lesson tonight. I want to share something with you that a lot of times the way your brain works, the way your conscious mind works. So there are two parts of your brain. There's your conscious mind, the thoughts you are aware of, your logical mind, and then there is your subconscious mind. Okay, that is like that houses all of your emotions, your beliefs, your feelings, and all of those things. Um, I'm not going to go into those tonight. I've taught on them before, and I will go into them at another time. But here's the most important thing I want you to understand. Listen, when your mind, your conscious mind, hears something that it has never heard before, hears something that is different than what it thinks, your conscious mind almost always, 90% of the time, it rejects it. It rejects it. And the reason it rejects it is because it doesn't have a reference point for the thing that it hears. So if Coach Ken tells you something to do to improve your relationship, and you've never heard that before, you never heard it before, you never heard anyone say that, because your conscious mind has never heard it said that way, and your subconscious mind it's never found that way. What your conscious mind does is it rejects it. It rejects it as not so. Okay, and so that is the reason why when I tell people something, here's the way learning works. If you want to change something, many of you want to change something in your life. The problem is that you've been doing it so long. You've been doing it the way you've been doing it so long that it becomes habitual. It becomes a pattern, what we call a psychological pattern. Okay. And this psychological pattern, it's like a replay. It's a reset. So it does the same thing over and over again. And so what I try to do to all of my students, I know you may not accept it the first go round, because most of the reason I have so many results, the reason my results are so high is because what I know how the brain works. So what I do to you is I do it a little differently. I don't try to convince you of it the first go around. I don't try to convince you. What I do is introduce the thought to your conscious mind. Okay? And so what I do is, see, think about it like this. Nothing happens until you introduce a thought to someone. So every action you have ever taken, you took the action because it started as a thought. Someone introduced the thought to you. Okay. And then what I do is once I introduce the thought to you, I simply reinforce the thought. This is called reconditioning. So you hear me say it once, or you hear me say it on a video, or you hear me say it on a live. And then you hear me say it again about your subconscious mind. Then you hear me say it again. And all of a sudden, your brain heard it. I planted the seed. Then your brain heard it again. Then your brain heard it again. Your subconscious heard it again. And all of a sudden, then you say, hey, there might be some validity to that. Let me listen. Now, all of a sudden, I planted the seed just so you would allow the information to go from your conscious mind to your subconscious mind. Wow, wow, wow. This is so powerful, y'all. And this is the reason why some people, they do something one time and it doesn't work. And they do it one time and they stop and they say, oh, just forget it, it didn't work. But no, what it is you have a psychological pattern. And what you have to do is interrupt the pattern. That means that is the reason why when I tell you to do something, when I tell you something, I know most of y'all ain't gonna do it the first go round. I know my students in my academy not gonna do it the first go round. I already know that, right? But if they stay with me a minute and then they find out, then all of a sudden I begin reconditioning their subconscious mind. I begin reprogramming it. And all of a sudden, like one of the people today, I'm gonna tell you this story. I reprogrammed her subconscious mind about her relationship. And now her relationship has done a 180. And the relationship is she'd been to 3 therapists before she came to Coach Canion. 3 therapists. I told him, I said, the therapists can't do what I do. I said, there are some good therapists out there. There are some good coaches out there, but they're not Coach Canion. Let me be honest. You might call it arrogant. You might say what it is, but the truth is, it's not arrogant. It's just confident. I'm the best in the business. Now, you can listen to all these other people, but when you really want to change, then I want you to lock in on what I tell you. Because here's the thing. I not only tell you what to do, but I tell you why to do it. Patrice says you are legitimate. Oh, thank you, Patrice. Patrice is one of my students. All right. So listen, y'all. So tonight, I'm going to tell you the story, and I call it the pain points of communication. And then at the end, I'm going to tell all of you to do something. Everybody ain't going to do it. I know that. But some of you are going to do it, and it's going to literally change your relationships, either with your mama, your workplace, your romantic relationships. It doesn't matter. But let's get started. So I have this client, and the client came to me about 8 months ago. And the client told me that she was tired. She was 52 years old, and she was tired of dating. She was tired of dating. She wanted to give up. And she said, I'm tired of dating. I'm meeting people. Coach, I said, but what? And then I said to her, and she began to tell me all of the reasons why she could not date or could not find a person for her. Because she was in a relationship at one point and it didn't work. And so Coach listened like he does. And so Coach, as he was listening, Coach begins to ask her questions. He begins to ask her subconscious questions. If you don't know what that is, you got to buy my book, Just Ask, okay? My ebook. And so I began to ask her subconscious questions. And I began to find out about her. And what I found out was every time the relationship would do a certain thing, something would happen in it, and then she would communicate a certain way, which would ultimately lead to the demise of the relationship. Whether she would get triggered, whether the other person didn't like what she said, whether it was she just did not know how to communicate what she was feeling. Now, I know that some of you out there, how many of you, just put one in your chat, because I got all my platforms up. I got TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and I got YouTube. So you all can't see each other. Y'all can't see everybody, but okay. So how many of you would say that, just put one in the chat, that you would say that you know that you have trouble expressing how you feel, whether you don't know what to say, whether you're worried about what the other person will say, but you know you have issues with it. Okay, just put a one in the chat. Just one. Okay, anybody? Okay, there's a couple ones there. I see a couple ones over there. Now, there's a couple one. Now, and some people I see there, yes, I do. Okay. Now, so let me tell you what happened to her. So the one thing she did was, I said there are 10 communication pain points. And she said, what do you mean? I said, all right, does this sound, so let me give you a couple of the pain points. Now, and I want y'all to ask me, has this ever happened to you? And I said the first thing, and I wrote them down just so that I would not forget them off my brain. So I wrote them down. I said the first thing is, have you ever been in a relationship where you keep fighting over small things and never truly understand each other, and you keep talking past each other? In any of your relationships, has that ever happened? Where you're trying to get your point across, whether either you could be dating, you could be in a relationship, you could be in a marriage, but you just feel like I cannot get my point across, or they just don't understand me. They don't understand me. And this is what she was saying. That how many of you have ever felt misunderstood? Put a 2 in the chat. If you've ever felt misunderstood, like people, they don't get, whether I'm at work, whether I'm in a relationship, they just don't understand. And you felt like I feel misunderstood. All right. I see a lot of twos coming up. And so my question is, the first pain point is she felt misunderstood because she didn't know how to be understood. She didn't know how to say it. She didn't know how. So she had things in her head. She had things in her head. And she knew what she wanted to say. But every time she get ready to say it, the person did not understand what she was going, and she would get triggered. She would get upset. Does that sound like any of y'all? She would get upset. And then because she would even get more frustrated because the other person just didn't get it. Ooh. Okay. That's the first pain point. And so I said, all right. The second pain point, and I wrote it down, is lack of emotional intimacy. So you feel like we are distant. You feel like something is happening in the relationship, or the friend is pulling away, or you're pulling away. And it's because something has happened. We had a miscommunication, and you don't know how to say, hey, I feel you pulling away. What is going on? But you think it and you feel it. And you say the energy is off. You say things are different. Have you ever had a person where the emotional intimacy, it doesn't have to be romantic, it can be the intimacy that I share with a friend, that I share with a coworker, but you feel like it is not what it was? If that's you, put a 3 in the chat. In the 3, put a 3 in the chat, because you've ever felt like that, but the things, but everybody was slipping away. The relationship was banging at first. We was kicking it. We was kicking it. Everything was kicking. Everything was good, and you start feeling good. You feeling like woo, and then all of a sudden, something happens where the energy feels different. It feels different. And you don't know what to do. All right? You don't know what to say. You don't know how to say, you don't know how to approach that situation. And you just be quiet. Is that ever anybody that ever happened to anybody you didn't know what to do? Okay? All right. And we just getting started. We just getting started. Now, the third communication pain point is you have difficulty expressing your feelings. Like you feel something, the other person might not be distant, but you feel something about something that they did, or you feel something about the relationship, or you want to talk about where we're going, you want to talk about where we're headed, you want to talk about a lot of things, you feel something, but you don't know how to say it. So what you do is you shut down, and then you get upset. You get upset because the other person doesn't know what you're feeling. And you're thinking to yourself, the other person should know. They should know what I'm feeling, because they should know. They see that I'm not acting the same. They see that I'm withdrawing. They see that I'm not calling. They see that my tone has changed. and I have difficulty expressing my feelings. Has that anybody? Put a 4 in the chat if you're feeling something. You've ever had deep feelings about something, and you're feeling something, but you don't know how to say it. You don't know how to say it, or you're afraid of what Lady EM said. You haven't stopped describing me. Most of the in these spaces. I know, Lady M. That my client was too, and that's why I wanted to do this live tonight. But I got a solution for you. I do. Okay. And so, look, y'all, and I'm probably gonna do one more. Ooh, I'm gonna do one more. I have 10 of I have 11 of these, but I'm gonna do one more. And I'm gonna do two more. Let's say, have you ever been in a relationship? This pain point right here, and this is a good one, where you're dating someone, and or you're in a relationship with someone, and they're not emotionally engaged or emotionally present like you. And you think they're emotionally unavailable. You think they're not available emotionally, and you get upset, you get triggered, but you don't know how to get them to get emotionally connected. So, what you simply say, does this sound like anybody? Put a 5 in the chat. Does this sound like anybody? And then you get upset and you tell them you just ain't this, or you just ain't you, because you don't know how to tell them what you're feeling, and you don't know how to say something to get them emotionally engaged. You just don't know how to do it. You don't know how to do it. And so what you do is you withdraw many times. First, you might be aggressive. He might see it aggressive, or she might see it aggressive. But then after a while, you simply withdraw. You simply withdraw, and you simply resent the other person. I know this, put a 5 if that ever happened to you. Is that and you notice all of these are being put in the comments because love put 5. Now, why is Coach talking about this? Oh, one more. This is the last one of the 11. Okay. You ever been in a relationship where you feel like someone's your partner or your mother or your brother or someone is not listening to you? You feel unheard. You feel like that what you say does not have value, or you do not know how to communicate it so the other person sees the value in what you have to say. Either you don't know how to say it, or they didn't know how to take it. But either way, you walk away feeling not valued or not heard. Not valued or not heard. That's the last one. If that's any of you, I want you to put a 6 in the comment section. So these are 6 communication pain points. 6 communication pain points where people, and some of you may be multiple. Some of you may be multiples where you feel like I'm not heard. All right. So the reason why I wanted to do this tonight, because I'm gonna help some of y'all, and this is what I'm gonna do. So let me finish the story with my client. The first thing was I told her, I went over the communication pain points with her about 8 months ago. It was 9 months ago now. And I said, how many of these do you feel are you? And she said, Coach, for real, I feel like 7 of them are me. And then I said, when you feel when you feel this way, what actually happens to you? So I got her to reflect, which I want y'all to do now. I said, tell me what you do when you feel what you feel about this communication pain points. And she thought about it. She said, first of all, I try to elevate my voice because I think if I talk louder, they will understand me more. Or I feel I'll be heard. I said, but does that work? He said, nope. And then I said, what is the next thing that you do? I said, the next thing, she said, the next thing I do is I begin arguing with the other person, hoping that the argument ended, they will see my intensity and they will understand what I'm feeling. I said, do they understand? She says, no, it gets worse. And then she says, the third thing I do is I get silent. I withdraw from the relationship. And then I said, when you get ready to withdraw from the relationship, how long does the relationship last after that? She thought that was crazy. She said, truth is, not long. Now, I want to ask y'all a question. I want y'all to think about what I'm asking. I said, when people get silent, when they get silent, when they bottle up what it is they have to say, how long does the relationship last in its current state? Not long. Not long. I want y'all to go back and think. Think for a minute. You know, and some of you may still be in the relationship. If you stay in the relationship, what suffers is the connection inside of the relationship. What suffers is the connection. So, because listen to me carefully, whenever you feel like you're not heard, you begin slowly disconnecting from the other person. Now, you might still be there physically, but emotionally, you checked out. Does that sound like anybody? Of course it does. And so some people that I coach, they come to me when they're on the brink of checking out for good. And then I tell them one thing to do. I said, what I'm going to do is teach you how to say what it is you need to say. I'm going to teach you how to communicate better. I said, it ain't gonna take long either. And I said, I'm gonna do three things. Now everybody watch what I'm gonna do. I said, number one, I'm gonna show you how to communicate where it's not combative. Number two, I'm gonna show you how to communicate where it's not aggressive. And you might say, well, what's the difference between combative and aggressive? I'll tell you the difference. Aggressive is when there's conflict, tension, when we're both like this. When there is tension, we're fighting, okay? When it could be perceived as we're fighting. Combative is simply, I just disagree with everything you say. It don't have to be aggressive. You don't have to be aggressive to be combative. Combative is, I just don't agree with what you say. If I say the sky is blue, you say it's purple. Some of y'all are combative. And then the third thing is, I said, I'm going to show you how to communicate and articulate exactly what you want to get across with no ambiguity, because a lot of us want to say something, but we don't know how to say it. We don't know how to say it. And then we get so worried about what the other person is going to feel about what you have to say because the communication is combative or aggressive. So now I told her this. Let me finish telling you about my client, y'all. I'm telling this story. I'm weaving it tonight because tonight I got a little time. We're gonna jump out of here in about 15 minutes, but I had a little time, so I'm gonna weave it right. So I began taking her down the journey of how to communicate better. Now she's been communicating the way she's been communicating for the last 50 years. I can't change that overnight, but I can give her something that will change it overnight. Notice what I said. I can't change her total communication overnight, but I can give her something that will change her communication overnight. I don't know if you get that, but she will in a second. So she said, okay, coach, I'm going to do what you say. And I told her, I said, if you're dealing with a man, it is important for you to communicate in the way that I'm teaching you to communicate because men associate disrespect with communication. Okay, watch this. And I said, what you don't understand about men is a man, how does a man know that you love him? Well, a man knows that you love him based on the respect that you give him. You see, a man calculates love simply by how his woman respects him. All right? That's how men determine love. And so, how do they determine if you respect him? Right? I said the way a man determines if you respect him or not is the way you communicate to him or with him. Period. And some of us are quite aggressive, quite combative, and we don't articulate our point. We beat around the bush or we shut down. And I know most of you fall in that category, and she did too. So I told her what to do. So over the next 5 months, I said, this is how we're gonna communicate. Fast forward, y'all, all the way to March of this year. Well, she ended up getting in a relationship, a serious relationship. She changed the way she communicated, and now she's married. She got married. Now, let me say this. That may not be the thing you want. You might not want to get married. You might just want to get in a relationship, or you might just want a better relationship with your brother, your sister. It doesn't matter. The principles are still the same. She called me the other day crying, and she said, "Coach, I have never had anybody to love me like this." And I said, "Well, why are you crying?" She said, "Because I don't know what to do." I said, "Just be." I said, "Just be. You don't have to do anything." Y'all, this is the way God loves us. God, you don't have to do anything for God to love you. All you have to do is just be. Just be the person he was designed that you were designed to be. In a relationship, I said, just be the person who decides to be better. I just want to be. Y'all, for those of you, I don't know who this message is for. For those of you tonight who are listening to me, you will never do enough. You can never do enough for the wrong person. All right. You can never do enough for the wrong person. What I'm going to tell you is this is your focus is simply be. Because God said that you are beautifully and wonderfully made. But the thing is, y'all, we are so busy trying to do that we are forgetting. We've forgotten how to be. And here's what I told her. I said, I just want you to be, but I'm going to give you the tool to be. I'm going to give you the tool. And so let me tell you what I did, y'all. And some of you know this and some of you don't, but I had to put it in context so I can give it. So about a year and a half ago, do you know as a coach, I've helped save over 300 marriages, 302 to be exact. I put hundreds of people together in relationships. And the reason I'm able to do that is because most of those people who were my clients always asked me, how do I communicate? How do I say this? Because they were acutely aware that if I could communicate better, this is for men and women. I coach men and women. They understand if I could communicate better, I could literally change my relationship. So what I did was, y'all, when AI came out about a year and a half ago, when it got really heavy, I went and I found two AI developers. And here's what I said. I said, could we train AI could I program it to teach people how to communicate the way that I coach? And the way that what I would tell you to say, the tone I would tell you to say it in, the words that I would tell you to use, could I train AI to do this? And they said, yeah, you could. It's going to take some time. And so, y'all, I worked for 6, 7 months and I created it. And once it was created, I didn't release it to the public. I gave it to my academy members. And I said, y'all go use it. And I said, come back and tell me what I need to do to change it. And so now we have released it about 8 weeks ago. And let me tell y'all what it is. And so what I told her to do, because she got the first version of it. Now we're on 2.0. So let me tell you what it does, y'all. Because you can't be around Coach Ken all the time. Okay? You can't. All right? So let's say you want to tell your partner that they hurt your feelings. But you know, if you say it the way that you say it, it's going to either lead to an argument or you're going to shut down because you don't know how to say it. But the way I created it is all you have to do is type it in and say, I want to tell my partner that they hurt me. Now, let me tell you what Coach Ken's software does. It's emotionally intelligent. Unlike ChatGPT, it's emotionally intelligent. So it knows that you're talking to your spouse. So it knows the tone to use. It also has what we call conversation templates. And conversation templates, I programmed it to use I language. Not you language, but I language. And so when you use I language, the brain does not believe that it's being attacked. So when you type in, I want to tell them I'm hurt because they did this to me. And it's going to print out, it's going to give you exactly what to say. Now, the cool thing is you can use it and then, or you can alter it. But not only does it tell you what to say, then you click a button on my software, it tells you why it works. If you use I language, it works because the other person doesn't believe you're attacking them. If you ask the person this, and this works because of it. I broke down, y'all, all of the reason why it works. And so think about this. If you wanted to think about if you were dating someone and you wanted to ask them a question, but you didn't know how to ask them. You say you wanted to ask them a question about finances, about how they handle money. And that's a sensitive topic, right? And you don't know how to say it. You don't know how to say it. So all you got to do is go in under relationships or dating, and it has a section on it in my interface that says questions. How do you ask sensitive questions? How do you ask deeper questions? Then all you got to do is type in, I want to ask them about finances, how they view finances. And what it's going to do, it's going to come out and type in, it's going to tell you exactly how to say it. Yo, let me tell y'all something. We released this 8 weeks ago. We've got close to 600 subscribers in that time, in a short period of time. Why? Because I'm telling the world about it. Because it's literally changing relationships. And this person who's married now, I said, I can't change the way you communicate because you've been communicating 50 years. But what I can do is give you a tool that's going to help you communicate better. And so everybody listening to me, here's what I want you to do. If you want to improve your communication with a romantic partner, your spouse, someone you're dating, or you want to commute in the workplace, in the workplace, or just a friend, and you don't know how to say it, what I want you to do is I want you to download the software. It's a software. So it's not in the App Store. It's mobile friendly. You use it on your phone. It's called the Pocket Communication Coach. It's like having a coach, a communication coach, because y'all know I'm a communication expert, in your pocket. And for those of you who want to try, here's what I'm gonna do. Because this month we're getting so many subscribers, what I'm doing is I'm allowing people to try it for 3 days for free. And then if you like it, it's $20 a month. But try it out for free. Just try it. You don't have to take Coach Ken's word for it. Try it out. And some of you know that your communication is bad. I just gave you the pain points. So here's what I want you to do. For those of you, write this down. For those of you, go to pocketcommunicationcoach.com. Pocketcommunicationcoach.com. Or you can go to my profile. If you're on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, go to my profile, click on my link tree, and you'll see Pocket Communication Coach. Pocket Communication Coach. Watch the video. Go in there and watch the video in there. It's like a minute, couple minutes. The video is short. Watch the testimonials. Watch it and download it. And I'm going to tell you something. You got 3 days to try it. And so listen, here's what I'm going to do. This is what I'm going to do. Anybody that gets the Pocket Communication Coach, anybody that gets it, if you decide to download it, all right, I'll give you a 15, 20-minute session. We can have a 15, 20-minute session to talk about anything. I just want you to try it. All right, all you got to do is email me at CoachKenCanion@gmail.com. CoachKenCanion@gmail. I said, Coach, I downloaded it. All right, and then once you do that, I'll hop on with you. We get on a quick Zoom or something, 15, 20 minutes, go over your situation, and look, I can help you with it, almost anything. It only takes, I always tell people, it don't take me but 18 minutes to dissect anything. 19 minutes was my time. But how many of you, y'all, I created this. Ultimately, this year I might have 5,000 subscribers on it. But I created this because I realized that the number one reason, let me say this, the number one reason relationships fail, all relationships, is because of uncommunicated expectation and needs. That's why. And a lot of people listening to me tonight, they won't download it. It's free. Because you know why? The truth is, you want everybody else to change, but you don't want to change. And I'm going to tell you something. A lot of y'all don't want to change. And a lot of people just want to keep listening to knowledge. You're a knowledge junkie, but you're not an applied knowledge junkie. You just consume it. And you don't want to change. But for those people who know that their relationships are suffering, and it's because of your communication, I want you to go to pocketcommunicationcoach.com. Pocketcommunicationcoach.com. Download the software. You can listen to it on your phone. Do it on your phone or your computer. The reason why I didn't want to go into the App Store is because if you go into the App Store, I can't do stuff like what I'm doing. We make changes to it every single week. We're making it better. There's a record button on there where you don't have to type in. You can just say it. Hey, my spouse, I want to know what we're doing in this relationship. I want to know where it's going. But if I say it, it's not going to end well. So let me type it into the Pocket Communication Coach, and the Pocket Communication Coach is going to tell me exactly how to say it, exactly the tone in which to say it. It's going to tell me what to say. All right. It's going to give me the template. And if you don't like it, you can regenerate it. Y'all, let me tell y'all something. And somebody might say, that's just like ChatGPT. No, it's not. ChatGPT can't. Let me tell you why. Because number one, it's emotionally intelligent. ChatGPT just spit out data. It's not. I had to program in the emotional part of it. All right. The conversation templates, I had to program them in. The real time conversation, the program is it. So anybody who wants to change their communication, which is going to change your relationships, go to pocketcommunicationcoach.com, try it out for 3 days. And if you like it, it's $20 a month. I promise you, it's going to literally change your life. And for those of you who ain't interested in changing, I would just keep looking at the videos. I'm cool with that. All right, y'all. That's my time. I'm out. Peace.